So, a relatively short bit ago, as of me writing the script, a YouTuber named Brandon the Awesome responded to my video regarding Spider-Man Brand New Day, where I'm pointing out some fairly overblown backlash over Spider-Man apparently having an assistive AI, even though we're meant to believe that Peter is smart and the technology is advancing like crazy. I mean, you can check your phones right now if you don't believe me. He made a stream attempting to respond to my video, so we'll give it a look and see what he has to say.
Alright, okay, so here comes the video I've kind of been wanting to do. Because in Spider-Man news, we also are having the movie that's coming out later that I also got to make a video about.
Ah, with MJ, aka Michelle Jones.
Yes. Overblown Spider-Man Brand New Day backlash. We have SK, one of the biggest frauds when it comes to Spider-Man YouTubing.
Yeah, spoken by someone who complained about Homecoming because Peter has advanced technology compared to his web shooters, which you for some reason claimed was primitive technology in the Marvel Universe. Setting aside how nonsense it is to compare tech from the 1960s to the 2010s, your examples for tech that's too advanced were the taser webs, the spider signal, and the spider tracers, ignoring the fact that tasers are commonly produced and accessible nowadays, and the fact that the spider signal and spider tracers are literally in the comics.
Am I the only one who did the reading?
What? You can't handle that the spider tracers move? You can find tiny robots within a robotics class. I'm sure moving robots aren't too advanced to fit Spider-Man's arsenal. Now, even if you think Spider-Man Homecoming isn't good, you have to admit that this is an absurd standard, and I bring this up to not only display the irony of him acting like people are fake fans for not agreeing with his opinions, but also that he's willing to neglect context and twist information about the comics to support his hatred for the MCU version. You shouldn't even have to do that to make well-founded criticisms, but he does anyway.
And I think there are a lot of disingenuous people online that just want to hate on the film. They don't want to make it better, right? They want to hate on it.
Crying because people are hating on Spider-Man Brand New Day already.
So, defending something against criticism is a very interesting definition of crying. I make it pretty clear that I'm not even super excited for the movie, and it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't good. But apparently, I care enough about this movie to be upset that people don't like what's shown so far? Okay, sure. If anything, this demonstrates that in spite of me not having reasons to expect this movie to be good, I'm willing to apply basic good faith as opposed to jumping for criticisms. I understand that good faith is offensive to you, and I'm very sorry that offends you, but you have to maintain a level of good faith, even for the stuff you don't like.
And of course, he's an unapologetic glazer for Across the Spider-Verse, easily one of the worst comic book movies ever made.
Okay, and you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's garbage. And I think a lot of the backlash towards it is overblown.
Of course you do, because you gotta lick the boot of corporate bootlickers. Oh, I made a post about this the other day, too. And people were whining in the replies for it.
Maybe because you look deeply ignorant to say that my video is motivated by corporate bootlicking. Do you have any idea who you're talking to? You're talking to the guy with hour-long videos on why the MCU Spider-Man movies are bad, but you think it makes sense to tell your fan base, as small as it is, that I'm doing this because of corporate bootlicking? Not even you're that stupid. Try better than this.
Because bloody hell, they had to give Peter an AI in his suit. Because we can't let him just have a normal costume anymore.
The AI doesn't change the costume. It's just an additional feature. The costume looks great. I'd say it's one of the better live-action Spider-Man suits. Does an AI truly ruin the whole design for you?
We cannot let Spider-Man escape being Iron Boy Jr.
He made the AI himself. How is this Iron Man Jr.? Specific focus I've seen is on the idea that Peter has an assistant AI in the movie, and some people seem to think that this means Peter is being turned into Iron Man again.
What? I mean, who is the only other character in the MCU that we know of that has used an AI?
Nick Fury literally uses an assistive AI in The Winter Soldier.
On whose authority?
Fury, Nicholas J.
What's not damaged?
Air conditioning is fully operational.
So that means Nick Fury and presumably other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents utilize assistive AIs. Now, does that make them Iron Man Juniors? No, that means they're making use of their own resources. Do the Wakandans count? Because they have their own AI as well.
Please upload my brother's DNA also.
Uploading now.
Does Doc Ock count? Yeah, I'd say he counts, especially because he's from a universe that's stated to be less advanced than the MCU. Now, I wouldn't say he's Iron Man Jr., though technically he came first, so I guess Tony Stark is Doc Ock Jr. Yeah, you see how thin and flimsy the standard is? And what's even funnier is that I'm mentioning random examples from 1 to 2 decades ago. You wanna know what year it is now? 2026. And we have assistive AI on our phones. You know what year it is in the MCU? Apparently it's 2028 for this movie. So as technology evolves and grows in accessibility, that only makes it easier for Peter to get a hold of something like this. Your criticism is moot, but let's hear the cope.
Brand New Day looks good. Wait, why are people hating it? You're an idiot. If you don't know why.
Yeah, guys, you're an idiot if you don't agree with my assessment of a movie that's not even out yet. That's apparently how this works.
And I think there are a lot of disingenuous people online that just want to hate on the film. They don't want to make it better, right? They want to hate on it.
As someone who is heavily critical of the MCU Spider-Man movie,
That is until No Way Home.
are you for real? Until No Way Home?
Bitch, I did my due diligence. That's a fucking lie what you're saying.
This is really a nothing burger complaint. I think pointing out that Spider-Man has access to advanced technology isn't a very substantive or compelling criticism.
Why?
What?
Maybe play the rest of the video and you'll find out.
Keep in mind that at this point, nobody knows who Peter is. He does not have access to the resources he used to.
So he can't gain more resources later on?
So how the heck is he able to get his hands on an AI?
Open your phone and find out.
Is it a nothing burger? SK, he never uses it in any of his versions. Well, here's the thing. SK doesn't really read the comics. He made like 2 videos covering Spider-Man's origin, and that's about it. He doesn't actually read the comics.
So, 2 things to say about this. 1, Spider-Man comics started in the 1960s. Of course we wouldn't expect him to have an AI. Iron Man in the comics didn't even start with an AI. Unlike in the first Iron Man movie. The point that I'm making about Brand New Day is that this is not the 1960s anymore. It's not even 2026. It's 2028 in a universe where the technology is more advanced. This is like complaining that Peter has a cell phone in Spectacular Spider-Man because he didn't have one in the comics, and that would be considered advanced technology. The reason for that is because these are 2 different times, so of course the technology is different. The exact same applies here, which is why your criticism is, quite frankly, stupid. And second of all, don't try to school me on comics when you literally complained about a spider signal and spider tracers. And you clearly haven't done your research if you think I only talked about Spider-Man's origin in the comics. In the videos I'm gonna throw on screen, I've talked about numerous issues outside of his origin story to discuss his characterization, or other parts of Spider-Man comics. You can watch them on your own time if you'd like. But keep leaping to faulty conclusions, Brandon. It's really doing wonders for your credibility. What I think matters more is the execution of these ideas. In
And all these ideas were pretty much executed terribly, SK.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm glad you were able to watch Spider-Man Brand New Day in the future so you could warn us about how bad the execution is. I really appreciate you looking out for us. I don't have an issue with the idea that Peter has a high-tech suit to help him in his superhero work. It makes sense for Tony to trust Peter with it, and it makes sense.
Yeah, this random kid he just met is entrusted with highly advanced technology.
Which Tony put under a training wheels protocol so Peter doesn't actually do anything dangerous. This is accounted for in the movie. Did you watch it?
They're all disabled by the training wheels protocol.
That Peter would want to use it to be better at his job, even to a flawed degree where he makes mistakes while taking on too much. What I do see an issue with is that in Far From Home, Tony planned to give an army of killer drones to Peter.
Come on, do not die on me, video player. One last video, come on.
Yeah, excuse the garbage production quality. We're just gonna have to deal with this because Brandon thought it was a good idea to stream this on a potato.
Also, an AI is some pretty advanced tech. This isn't like the web shooters where he grabs random bits of tech and creates a chemical formula.
Except the web shooters have numerous combinations just like in the movie. That is advanced tech whether you like it or not. If it weren't advanced, then more people would have it.
The kid who gave said AI away to Mysterio. Yes, that was very bad writing.
But if we're being fair here, Peter has no reason not to trust Mysterio. He's a naive kid, and he's looking for an excuse to let go of that responsibility. All of these work in tandem to explain why he'd have the motivation to get rid of the glasses, and why he would think it's safe in Mysterio's hands, who seems to be a capable, self-sacrificing hero like Tony Stark, so that in particular is fine. And to be completely blunt, I don't know why you're getting so mad at this, when you've literally went out of your way to defend this.
You're saying the lives of a billion strangers are more important than my loved
loved ones?
Too far. However, nothing we've seen so far with Spider-Man Brand New Day even remotely implies that the usage of technology will result in story issues. It's a
Oh my god. SK, I don't think you understand the point here. The problem is the fact that he has access to advanced technology again, when the whole idea with the ending of No Way Home was Peter moving away from that.
That's because of practical reasons, not for character reasons. All of his leftover tech would have been taken by damage control, so he physically can't retrieve all of his technology. If he could keep it, he would have. And he only has access to this advanced technology through a limited budget, and we know that he's capable of dumpster diving to build computers.
Oh, what do we have here? Retro tech, huh? Salvation Army?
The garbage act.
You're a dumpster diver.
I read books, I build computers.
So nothing you've presented is inconsistent with the universe. This is a nothing point.
And we finally had something that resembled the Spider-Man of the comics. He didn't have advanced technology. He didn't have an AI. He was just in a spandex suit and homemade web shooters.
That doesn't mean he can't build resources over time. They literally established that he's resourceful in Civil War, when he's even younger and less experienced. Relatively light usage of technology at best, which I'll get into in a moment. But it seems like no matter what nuance you try to provide, some people just get really angry for the sake of being angry.
Oh my... Angry for the sake of being angry. It's because Peter, at this moment, shouldn't even have access to this advanced technology.
And you haven't made a single cogent argument as to why. Let's see if he gets there. In fairness to the video, I don't think every point made is unreasonable, so I'll be skipping a lot.
Buddy, you literally think that anything we say is unreasonable.
And your proof of this is what exactly? A clip where I'm saying not everything being said is unreasonable?
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education. Nigga, that's what the scam is.
I could just open my mouth and say Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, and you will have a freaking meltdown for days.
Well, it wasn't me who had a meltdown, considering you were the one who rage quit the debate on it. Also, I'm talking about Jester Bell's video, not whatever you said about Miles Morales. Reason? Even if I think the title is a bit dramatic, but there are...
Oh my god, dude. You know, here on YouTube, you have to be a bit dramatic for the sake of entertainment, right?
So, I'm correct in how I described it, which is all my statement is doing. Describing what happened. Are we finally gonna get to why Peter's AI is bad?
Daniel Craig admit that Peter Parker is going to have a new AI that he's going to talk to in this movie. And he said in his notes, it's no Tony Stark technology, it's made by Peter Parker.
Then how is it still like Tony Stark? And is...
Because it's a freaking AI in a guy's suit.
Then by your logic, most of the population is like Tony Stark because we have access to AI assistants on our phones.
Who's basically going to serve as his partner throughout the whole movie. It's literally like Jarvis, in a way.
Jarvis goes as far as locking the nuclear codes from harmful entities. He's able to shut out Ultron from accessing sensitive information. That's not just an assistive AI. It's one of the most powerful you can find in the world. There's nothing stating that Peter has an AI on that level. Just that it's assistive. And again, he's doing this under limited funding, so the implication is that it's not even that advanced or expensive like Jarvis. We don't know anything about it, other than it exists. Now, it could be done poorly in execution. It could happen in the movie that comes out. And if the execution is bad, I am gonna be there to criticize it. But quite frankly, we don't have enough information right now. You're making bad faith assumptions about it because you want to hate on this movie for some reason.
They don't want to make it better, right? They want to hate on it.
Even if it's not directly from Stark himself, it's still, it's going to be very much similar to what Tony Stark did.
Incredible. It's similar to what Tony Stark did, even though you have no information on how powerful it is in the first place, or what the manufacturing process even was for Peter.
Again, making it that Spider-Man can't really be Spider-Man, he's got to have something from Iron Man.
Okay, then we live in a world of Iron Man by your logic. This is weak, I don't know what to tell you. Assistive AI isn't exclusive to Tony Stark, especially given how times have changed. In present day, we have access to assistive AIs on our phones. This is
So?
What do you mean, so? So it's a product of the times we're living in, rather than taking from Tony Stark himself. It disproves the premise of your argument.
First off, the AI in Marvel stuff has always been super advanced.
You understand how broad of a term AI is? All they said is that he has an assistive AI. We all have that. We don't know how powerful or advanced it is. You're just assuming it's on the level of Tony Stark because you need that to be true to support your claim. But you've skipped the part, the vital step of the process, where you've actually proven this is the case.
Second, why does Peter need an AI assistant built into his suit?
So it feeds him useful information when he's otherwise occupied. That is an objective benefit to using it.
And third, please, God, if they have it that Peter actually has an AI assistant like that, then this movie's going to be insanely dated by the time it comes out.
You mean like every movie that reflects the technology of its time? You can say the Sam Raimi movies are dated because they use old phones that don't compare to what we have today. But those movies, well, 2 of them, still hold up to this day. So the same can happen with Brand New Day. It's 2026, and Brand New Day apparently takes place in 2028. And the technology in the MCU is meant to be more advanced than ours. So as the—
But Peter shouldn't have access to this kind of advanced technology anymore because, you know, he wiped himself off the face of the planet.
What does everyone's memory of you have to do with your access to technology? He can still save his money to gather resources. He can dumpster dive like he has before. Can he not buy a cell phone? You know, something that has assistive AIs built into them? There's another thing funny I just realized about the dumpster diving. It's gonna consist of garbage, but it's gonna be garbage of the time. This is years after Civil War, and as the years go by, the technology in people's homes will become more advanced, which would extend to the trash they throw out. So that's just another way Peter can benefit off dumpster diving.
I mean, if he has access to that kind of technology, why does he have crappy looking web shooters?
Where do they look crappy? The trailer shows that they operate similarly to his web shooters in the past. This isn't some ridiculous downgrade.
Why does it even matter that he erased himself if he's just gonna have all the access that he had before?
Erasing himself is not why he lost the technology. He was already losing it during the events of No Way Home, starting with Edith, and the Iron Spider suit got destroyed, and Damage Control would have confiscated everything, regardless of if they remembered Peter Parker or not, because they still remembered Spider-Man.
Like, that
Technology
defeats
advanced
the
it.
whole story purpose of erasing yourself. You want, like,
The story purpose of erasing memories of Peter Parker was his personal sacrifice for the greater good, not for him to never gain technology again. What movie did you watch?
I mean, it's just like having him get back together with Michelle. It's like you undid his sacrifice in No Way Home, meaning that movie is now extremely pointless.
First of all, we don't even know if they get back together. Second of all, even if they were, that doesn't mean his sacrifice was pointless, because he still lost time with her and their history is lost. It just becomes a matter of building newer history afterwards. Now, if it were executed poorly and we had him immediately reverse his decision not to tell MJ for no reason, then yeah, we'd have a problem here. But there's no proof that's the movie we have.
He worked fine without the AI. He worked fine without AI for over 60 years.
Yeah, and he worked without a cell phone too. Is that an argument for not giving him a cell phone? Like, come on, this is weak.
and one of his big things was that, like, he had to be smart enough to calculate the angles, calculate the speed and everything that he was going at, and like constantly do that. And that was what showed his massive intelligence.
So if he programs his own AI to do that for him, that still requires great intelligence and skill, which to be fair, we don't know is going to be the case in the movie. But even in that hypothetical, that's not taking away from his intelligence, it's reaffirming it.
Well, what's also dumb is Peter has spider powers, and they're kind of trying to subvert it by having him with technology, which kind of makes him weaker.
No, that's not a subversion, that's an integration. He can use both to his advantage, which makes sense for a smart superhero. As it grows more accessible, it becomes less and less like Tony Stark to have access to assistive AI. That doesn't mean he's Iron Man Jr. or anything. That
Oh my god. Again, if you want Spider-Man to be his own man, stop giving him technology that we've seen with another character.
We've seen it in real life with the common person, which one of your responses to that was, so what? Just means Peter is using his smarts to aid his work as Spider-Man. Now,
How? Why?
how is designing an AI to assist him using his smarts to help him? Are you serious?
Hello? Anybody home?
Spider-Man
His
doesn't need
smarts.
that kind of aid.
He doesn't need it, but it helps. I don't need a calculator to do every calculation, but if it's a time saver, then why not use it? Especially if lives are on the line. The same applies to Spider-Man, where his decisions can mean the difference between life and death.
That it's not showing his smarts at all. That's the problem.
It's not showing his smarts, even though designing this in the first place requires him to be smart. Great rebuttal.
Like, that's showing that Peter would be a complete, like, at this point, you're saying that any random Joe could become a crime fighter because, oh, advanced technology is becoming more publicly accessible, blah, blah, blah.
Except they don't have Spider-Man's powers, which is why he has the responsibility in the first place. Did you forget about that? This is like if I said Spider-Man would use a cell phone to aid in communication or locating areas of interest, and the response to that was, so anyone with a cell phone can be a superhero? No, that's clearly not the point if you apply basic literacy.
Pretty
I know
much.
some people are going to say that Toby and Andrew didn't have an AI of their own, but you have to remember that those movies are from many years ago. The times...
Oh my god, they also didn't need that kind of technology because Spider-Man doesn't need to be an overly techie character.
Maybe let the point finish so you'll understand the counter.
And as you said, SK, like, their technology is more advanced than ours. So if they wanted to make him have an AI thing, they could have. They were just not lazy and incompetent enough to do that.
And your reasoning for why it's lazy and incompetent is that the tech is too advanced. You might have a point if this were 2002 or 2012, but we're way past either of those years. This is 2026, where people have assistive AIs in their pockets, so that fundamentally changes the context of the mere idea of Peter using one in 2028, not even 2026. But apparently, your response to that is, so what? So I don't even know what I was expecting here.
Well, he was talking about Garfield and
Right.
McGuire, and so he was saying like, oh, like the AI didn't exist back then. I'm like, yeah, they could have just said, oh, it's more advanced, so we're gonna have, like, they had Jarvis in 2008.
And Jarvis or AIs like him weren't accessible to the public. It was Tony's invention and it cost him tons of money. What I'm talking about is how assistive AIs are commonly accessible to the public in present day. So a movie that takes place 2 years afterwards having an assistive AI for Spider-Man isn't a problem on its own, because Peter is known to adapt and improve present day technology through his own smarts. And he lives in a time where assistive AI is publicly accessible. Now back to the Andrew Garfield example. If they were to try this back then, the only justification for this would be that the world is more futuristic, and therefore the type of technology that Peter is adapting is common in present day, which would be the same context that our world operates in, a world that's less advanced than the MCU. This is basic internal consistency. We're different, so of course they're not gonna have an AI. It's a similar reason why you'd see—
Also, notice that he's only using the Andrew and Toby and not the comics.
I actually do if you proceed with the video. I'm just mentioning Toby and Andrew now because people are comparing film adaptations to make a point for what the new one should do.
Because again, SK doesn't read the comics, so he can't really pull examples from there outside of like an image he found on Twitter or something.
Meanwhile, I'm about to bring up the comics and how the times they were released affects the context of its universe. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with a cell phone, while obviously you wouldn't have seen this in the 60s comics. See what I mean? I bring it up right after this guy says that I don't read the comics. So great job, Brandon. The growing use of technology in modern Spider-Man—
Oh my god. But the thing is, they didn't need to use that kind of technology.
Okay, and Peter Parker doesn't need a cell phone in the movies. The same dumb argument applies. You haven't made a distinction that makes the comparison invalid.
And him having a cell phone in TASM is completely irrelevant because it's like, no shit, dumbass.
What a riveting counter. It's almost as if he knows the obvious answer is that the technology is common for the time, but he doesn't want to say that because that sets me up to say the same about the MCU.
Him having a cell phone, it's like, that doesn't really help him with fighting crime.
It literally does in the movie. That's how he directs Gwen to make the cure and how he relays information to her about the lizard.
Yeah, it's really easy to just do a period piece. If you want to make him not have the cell phone or not have the AI, you just do Spider-Man 1995 or something, you know?
And you know what? That is awesome, man. But a movie isn't obligated to be a period piece. We don't need every Spider-Man movie to take place in the 1960s so that the technology is consistent with the comics. That's just an absurd requirement for any adaptation whatsoever, and is simply a product of the time they're releasing, not a detachment from the core of Spider-Man.
To me, it's still like Tony Stark.
Well, it
it's
could
still
be
like
both.
him talking.
It can be both, but it's only one, which is a product of its time, just like the cell phone example.
I don't know why Spider-Man needs some AI tech for him to talk to.
So when you open up Siri and ask for directions to the nearest Best Buy, does that make you Tony Stark? No, it doesn't, because
She literally didn't say that. She was asking, why does Spider-Man need an AI?
So while you were talking over the video, she actually did say it's still like Tony Stark and still talking to Jarvis, hence my response. You can hear it right here.
It's still like Tony Stark. It's still like him talking to Jarvis. I don't know why Spider-Man needs some AI tech for him to talk to.
So when you open up Siri and ask for directions to the nearest Best Buy, does that make you Tony Stark?
Like what? Because again, the problem is we have other characters in the MCU who have just as much, who have very advanced technology, more so than what Peter has right now, and they don't have AI.
Like who? Can you name someone with more advanced technology that can't have access to AI? Because from what I can think of, the Wakandans have an AI, Nick Fury does, Ironheart does, and that's just counting people who want to use an assistive AI, whereas characters like Hank Pym are shown to be skeptical of Stark's approaches, or Bruce Banner, who'd be less inclined to invest in advanced AI after Ultron. And what you're also forgetting is that Peter is meant to be one of the smartest minds in the MCU, so he would be able to evolve common, existing technologies into something more advanced.
The only person in the MCU that we've ever seen having an interactive AI is Tony Stark, and by extension Peter.
Literally untrue.
Because he was given technology by Tony Stark, and now Peter is going to have another interactive AI.
Another one.
Yeah, that he's going to be using, just like Tony Stark.
But it's either going to be self-made or adapted from what already exists. Either way, none of this is remotely enough evidence to claim that he's just like Iron Man. Your entire basis is a description of a technology that already exists for the common person. This is highly accessible technology. The point of Tony Stark's technology is that it's not highly accessible due to how expensive and advanced it is. Times are changing.
Also, Siri, as my people are pointing out here, Siri is not the same as Jarvis.
And where's your evidence that Peter's AI is the same as Jarvis? Can it block out the nuclear codes as well? All you were told is that he had an assistive AI, and that his tech would be under limited funding. That's a very broad statement. There are varying degrees as to how advanced it could be. You've simply decided it's on the level of Jarvis because you need it to be to call this Iron Man Jr. Changing with the progression of AI, which would lead to more knowledge and accessibility. And Peter knows how to be resourceful with present-day technology.
I don't see how dumpster diving can result in you building an AI, SK.
You need computer resources in order to build an AI, which is what he was able to gather through dumpster diving. He literally made computers in Civil War because of this. Did you pay attention to the dialogue? Also, my point was never that dumpster diving would be his sole source of resources. That's not even what the film states. It states that he's under limited funding, which means he's also buying resources too.
I didn't know you could I didn't know that Spider-Man could... You know, Spider-Man could be something of a MacGyver at times, but I didn't know he was a freaking magician and was able to just conjure technology out of thin air.
And the Strawman Award goes to...
Jeff Bridges is like, Spider-Man built this out of a dumpster with a box of scraps.
You're literally proving my exact point, that someone smart enough under limited resources can build something incredibly advanced. You referencing the Iron Man scene just supports my point.
As they're wont to do.
Salvation Army?
The garbage axe.
You're a dumpster diver.
Yeah, I was...
As for the question as to...
Yeah, but he's not even using... Like, look at that technology.
What do you mean, look at that technology? He's building computers with the resources he gathered. Now that he's older, more experienced, and has his own source of income, he can do the same thing, but better.
Yes, look at all of this. This looks like crap. This doesn't look like the kind of stuff that you can build an AI with, SK.
And you're basing this off of what? That it looks crappy to you? Newsflash, just because it's retro tech doesn't mean it can't be used to create AI, considering it literally has been done before. AI has existed in the 1980s, where they only had tech that would be considered crap by today's standards. This counter is hilariously bad.
Salvation Army?
Like, that's literally an early 80s computer.
AI has existed in the 1980s. What kind of counterpoint is this?
Like, where would Peter be able to get his hands on the kind of technology necessary to make an AI?
Google is free. As for the question as to why Peter needs the technology, it's less so that he needs it, but rather that it helps. Voice-activated commands are inherent.
Voice-acted commands for what?
To feed him relevant information, to calibrate his tech, to locate areas, to build databases, to tip off law enforcement, to alert Peter of crimes. There are numerous ways an AI can help Peter do his job better. Currently more beneficial because they're more efficient than how computers typically receive commands, which especially helps if...
What computer? SK, you're acting like Peter needs this technology for crime fighting, but I
literally said he doesn't need it, but it can help. Are you tracking?
How? Voice acted commands for what?
To perform actions on his computer, to grab information on the spot, that's way quicker than him typing commands or typing in the search bar. If he has an AI that can easily interpret vital information and communicate it to him like a human would, then that accelerates the process for Peter.
Just give him an internal monologue like he had in the very first Spider-Man movie, or like he has in the comics. You don't need to create an AI for him to chat with, just like Tony Stark.
I don't see why it has to be an internal monologue.
Well, for one, it would be a lot more faithful to the comics, SK. I know that comic book faithfulness is something you and every other bootlicker who licks modern Marvel is allergic to.
I think you're allergic to basic fact-checking. I'm a Marvel bootlicker. I have numerous reviews on my channel criticizing Marvel content, where I'm straight up saying it's bad. Why don't you let me know when you drop some Marvel critiques with a basic production quality? And being faithful to the presentation in the comics is superficial at best. Internal monologues aren't the only way to address a character's internal thoughts. That's not even how the comics always do it. We have comics that rely on body language or framing to convey the emotions of the characters, so we can tell what they're thinking. There's more than one way to communicate something about a character. There's more than one way to convey an idea to the audience. In this case,
Okay, but again, we've already seen this with Homecoming. Why not try doing it the more traditional way?
maybe because they're showcasing ways Peter is coping with his loneliness, which is not how the AI was used in Homecoming and Far From Home. Why is this inherently a bad story decision? Showing how alone Peter is and how he may try to cope with that. That's not inherently a bad direction to
coping
take.
and seething. That's why he gets with MJ again, bro.
He's Aw, Peter's dealing with loneliness? Oh, tough shit. Because first off, Peter Parker is more or less a loner most of the time in the comics.
And he's a loner in the movie as well. The point that you're dodging is that giving Peter a way to try coping with it is not intrinsically bad writing. We're waiting for the argument for why it is.
I mean, shoot, the Tobey Maguire movies just continue to look better and better.
Yet in those movies, they aren't even as expository as the early comics were. While there were internal monologues, they're not as common, and the comics provided heavier exposition, like a villain needlessly stating his plan as he's about to do it. In the Raimi movies, the villain would have just done it and we'd know the plan. Or they'd at least have a more subtle way to imply that the villain is planning something without them needlessly spoon-feeding it, like this in Spider-Man 2.
Come on.
And I'd say this way is actually better because it avoids needless padding and it allows the visuals to do more of the work. This is exactly what I mean by how matching the presentation of the comics doesn't inherently result in good quality. You can capture the spirit of the source material without looking to replicate every bit of it, even elements of its presentation. It all comes down to execution.
It's this weird thing.
And we all know that the execution in these movies is pretty much shit.
Then make a review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. You know those videos I made on the Home trilogy? Do Spider-Man Brand New Day for me. I'd love to sit this one out since clearly you can do the job better than me.
I actually read the leaked opening script for Brand New Day, and he monologues at the start without AI. Oh my god, so it's literally self-defeating.
That isn't self-defeating though. This goes to support what I said about how there's more than one way to convey a character's thoughts. You can have them speak it aloud in the right context, or have their thoughts spoken to the audience, which by the way, it's not just Peter's thoughts. It's a letter he wrote to MJ and Ned, and he's rehearsing it to himself. The only meaningful difference is that the letter isn't speaking back like an AI, and there hasn't been a single argument made for why that'd be a bad thing. While I don't think Homecoming is a good movie, I don't see the problem with him talking to Karen as a way of sharing his expositional thoughts. If anything, it demonstrates what a kid may naturally do if there's no one else they can talk to about something. As you've read out, it's already detached from the previous uses of Stark Tech. It's Peter's design. It has nothing to do with Iron Man.
But again, why does he need an AI?
You're just repeating the same points, so I'm just gonna move on. That's literally what the script itself highlights.
I guarantee you they only threw this in for the sake of for idiots like SK to use.
What exactly is idiotic about this? It establishes that this is a self-made feat and thus a product of Peter's intelligence and resourcefulness. They wrote it because that would make sense for Peter.
All of his tech needs to have been made by Peter. But again, how does Peter build an AI with dumpster trash?
It's not just dumpster trash. He also pays money to buy resources. It's a combination of materials he'd find and things he pays for.
It's done.
So that was my response to Brandon the Awesome. Like I said, this movie could turn out to be good, bad, average, whatever. I don't even have an issue with suspecting the movie will be bad, but expecting me and everyone else to jump to conclusions about the movie when it's not even out yet is just absurd, especially when you're calling people fake fans over this. I would much rather apply precautionary skepticism before jumping to criticize the story. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.